Guys, you're welcome back. So in the previous video we looked at how to set up VPN connection using the PPTP protocol, but then because of the insecurity of the PPTP protocol, we need to set up a more secured VPN connection using a more secured protocol, which is the SSTP. Now before you can use SSTP, you need to have Ssl certificates. Now we can go to third-party trusted certification authorities like Komodo, like VeriSign, and then apply for a certificate that we can use on our system. But then in this scenario, we are going to actually create our own certification authority. So I have already installed the Active Directory Certificate Services role, and you must also do same. It's the same process as adding roles and features. You click add roles and features, you go to next, and then you check the Active Directory Certification Services role. Now when you expand here, when you are doing the installation, you're not going to see. So these are the options you are supposed to check when you get to the options page. There's supposed to be certification authority, then there's supposed to be the certificate enrollment policy web service, and then there's supposed to be the certification authority web enrollment. These are the three roles that you are going to enable, or role services you are going to enable. So once the installation is done, then you can follow up with me on the configuration. Now to configure the Active Directory Certificate Services, we drop down on the notification after the installation is done, and then we click configure Active Directory Certificate Services. Now once this is up, we need to authorize the installation. So which credentials are we using? By default it says administrator because I am logged in as administrator. So here I click next. Then the roles I checked, certification authority, then the certification authority web enrollment, and then the last one, certification. So you check this also, and then you check those were the role services that we selected under the ADCS, sorry. So we click next. Now we need to specify what type of certification authority we want to set up. We can have an enterprise certification authority, or we can have a standalone certification authority. If it's an enterprise certification authority, then it means it is required to be online before it can sign and issue certificates. But then standalone certification authorities can be members of work group or members of a domain. Now we want this to be an enterprise certification authority, so we leave it as it is, enterprise CA, and then we click next. Then we can have root certification authority or subordinate certification authority. Root certification authorities are autonomous, meaning they create and sign their own certificates. But then subordinate certification authority require a root certification authority, meaning they are dependent on another certification authority for their certificate. So this is the first server we are setting up. We do not have a root certification authority, so this is going to be our root CA. So we click next. Then we have to create a private key. Now when it comes to the PKI or the public key infrastructure, we have what we call the asymmetric cryptography or asymmetric encryption. Now in asymmetric encryption, two key pairs are used, the private key and the public key. The private key is stored on the server or on the system or on the owner's system. Then the public key is given out to any system that the owner chooses to communicate with. So in this case, whenever a message is generated from the server is going to encrypt it with its private key. Then the client or the receiver of the message will decrypt the message with the public key. Now one rule here is that you cannot use the private key to encrypt and decrypt message at the same time. So a message that is encrypted with one half of the key can only be decrypted with the other half of the key. So we are going to create a new private key. So we click next. Then we have the cryptographic algorithm. Now the cryptography provider here selected by default is RSA. Now RSA is a very secure cryptographic algorithm, so we are going to leave it as it is. And for our hashing algorithm, when we say hashing allows you to create a fixed length key from any variable length of data. So what it means is that mostly hashing is used to check for the integrity of data. So we are going to use the secure hashing algorithm version 1, SHA-1. So we select SHA-1, or we can use the message digest version 5. That is also great, but then SHA-1 is okay. It's able to generate a key length of up to 160 bits. Now our key length here is 2048. That is a very strong cryptographic algorithm there. Or you can drop down and say you want 4096, but I think 2048 is okay. The stronger the encryption key, or the longer the encryption key, the slower your network, because it will take time for the message to be encrypted and then decrypted. So we click next. Then we have the name of the CA is auto-generated. We click next. Then every certificate has a validity period. So this is for 5 years. So we maintain as it is. If you want a longer duration, you can change it from years to even weeks or months or days. So we click next. Then it shows us the certificate databases, where the database of or the various certificates are going to be stored. So there's been a default location on our drive C in a folder called system32 in a folder called setlog. So we leave them as is and then click next. Now, what type of authentication will the systems be using when they want to access the server for certificates? So they're going to be using Windows integrated authentication. That is okay. We leave it as it is and then click next. Then it says that we are supposed to specify a server authentication certificate. Now, before this server can give out certificates to other systems, the server itself needs to have a certificate. As of now, we have not yet created any certificate for this server. So we are going to change the option to choose and assign a certificate for SSL later. So later on, we will have to make the server give itself a certificate, and after it gives itself a certificate, then the clients can also start requesting for certificates. So we click next. So it gives us a summary of everything. So I just click configure. So the configuration process is going to begin, and once it is done, we will have a certification authority. So whilst we wait for this to be done, I'm going to end the video here. In the next video, we'll look at how to assign a certificate for our certification authority, so that it can now also give certificates to the systems. So thank you for watching. In the next video, we will meet and then look at how to give our server a certificate. Like the video, comment if it's helpful, subscribe to the channel. Thank you. If you have any challenges, leave me a comment.